Okay, so a question I get asked all the time is, how do you know that the ancient piece of pre-Columbian art you're showing is real or authentic? Well, my friends, there are 5 steps that we use to authenticate ancient art from Mesoamerica, and I'm going to take you through each single one of them. But first, you guys, nothing beats book knowledge. And by that, I mean studying the literature, reading the books, and then what you want to do is you want to look at the pictures, right? Because when you're doing that, you're noticing that these pieces all follow a certain style, a certain conformity, and if anything varies from that, then that's your first red flag, because most of the pieces look very similar. You can tell just from pictures alone. Going to museums is also helpful too, because again, you're looking for that. You're looking for the pieces, and you're seeing real examples of what they're supposed to look like, and that's important. Okay, but once you go through that, you should be able to identify 95% of the pieces on the market to know that they're real. And then after that, if you're kind of stuck, there are 5 steps you can use to authenticate ancient art. And here we go. I'm gonna take you through each one of them. Number 1, okay, this is called the weight test. Okay, so the weight test basically is you just lift up the piece. It's really easy, and by that means so this piece right here, it's a lot lighter than it would appear, because the ancient clay. This, by the way, this is a Klima dwarf, 100 BC to 250 AD. It's been exposed to the environment for 2,000 years, so the moisture has left the clay substantially, and it's a lot lighter. If you have a reproduction or a forgery, it's going to be heavier because it's still essentially wet clay. Now, that's going to lead us to our next step, and that's called the water test. And so what you want to do is just spray a little area of the piece, and by that, it doesn't harm its water. By the way, I used distilled water to remove the impurities of the water. And then you're looking at the absorption rate. So this will absorb into the clay rather quickly. If it's a forgery or a new piece, sometimes it just beads right off or it just stays there. It doesn't really get absorbed into it. And this is actually absorbing into it. Just a heads up, you guys, you do not do this on Maya bases, because they're so thin, the cylinder shape, and the pressure that they've been under for so many years, they can shatter or break. So no Maya bases, but this works on everything else. And then, sorry guys, that's the next step. That's the smell test, because the wet clay will release a really strong odor. It's not like a pungent or anything like that, but it is just an odor. It's an ancient odor. And the clay's been, either in burial or just exposed to elements for 2,000 years, so it will smell like ancient clay. And that's how you get the next positive step. Okay, so step number 4, I call it the tapping test. People refer to it differently, and that is because these ancient pieces were fired in low-fired kilns, and so because of that, the clay sounds different when you tap it. Okay, so here we go. You guys hear that? It's kind of like a low, kind of a thud, right? Now this is an extreme example because this is a modern cup, right? But so you hear that it's a higher pitch, right? And that's because this was fired in a higher temperature kiln. It's a modern kiln that uses higher temperatures to fire the clay, and it creates a different type of style, right? So you got that versus. Okay, so that's your next the step number 4. Okay, and then finally, guys, when you've gone through all of that, I mean, you're talking about 99.9% of the pieces you should be able to authenticate with just using those 4 methods that I described. But if you're stuck, finally, you can't figure out what's going on, you can actually test the deposits that are on these pieces. So these manganese deposits do react to peroxide. If you use a 40% solution, I use the cream because it just works better, I think. And you can have naysayers like, oh my God, you can't put that on ancient art. Guys, it's fine. Everybody in the industry does this, and pieces have been fine. Nothing's going to happen to it. I always pick a spot that's just like in the back, not visible, just to be safe. It's always good to use precautions. But I've never had a single problem in these pieces. And so then again, you're just going to go over and just going to put it on. You don't put too much, but just enough right here. And this peroxide, I've had it for a while, so it's going to take a little bit longer. But if it's really fresh, it reacts right away. But look at that. There you go, guys. Those are the little fizzing right there. And it's just a chemical reaction. It's nothing crazy, because the manganese deposits are organic, and so they're going to fizz like that. So, and that's giving you that positive reaction. Just take a paper towel, just wipe it right off, and look, just like new, nothing happened, okay? Now, there are a couple ways to defeat that, and the first one's gonna be, well, it's not really a true defeating, but they will try to fake the deposits. The first one, the pieces in the 1970s, they would burn sugar on it, and that created this black, crusty look to it. It's not similar, because these deposits are really organic and just kind of, they call them blossoms sometimes because they just organically blossom, but you'll see that those sugar things, they just kind of, cake on there. They are removable, and they're meant to deceive and be part of a forgery. Also, sometimes they will paint them on there and just do like a splatter, and you can always tell because they have a directional splatter, and so you can be like, oh yeah, that's fake. It just doesn't look right. Plus, those the paint won't react chemically to the peroxide. So, okay, guys. So there you have it, guys. Those are the 5 steps used to authenticate ancient art. But again, nothing replaces or beats just plain old-fashioned book knowledge, right? That's where you can get 95 to even 97, 98% authentication and identity just based on pictures alone, identifying the style. So if you have any questions, guys, you can reach out via DM. Otherwise, guys, thanks for your support. Hope you found this helpful, and hope you have a great day. Cheers, my friends. Happy collecting.